So Vitalik Buterin gets a girlfriend and Ethereum instantly collapses. There is a lesson in this. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down the future of Ethereum and an insane bombshell proposal that Vitalik Buterin just released. Now, ETH has obviously been struggling against Bitcoin for what isn't weeks, but years. Yes, peaking into Ethereum has been on a decline and going home in the terms of Benjamin Cowen. So will history repeat itself? Will the RSI bottom out? Will the MACD reverse? And will Ethereum ever see $3,000 again? Well, on April 20th, 2025, there was breaking news that Vitalik Buterin wants to replace Ethereum's virtual machine, yes, the EVM, with RISC-V, R-I-S-C-V, an open source architecture that could boost Ethereum's scalability by up to 100 times. You have some users coming out and saying this is going to be the catalyst for Ethereum to reach $10,000. But is this possible? How long would it take to even implement this? And what is this implementation? Well, on Ethereum Magicians, Vitalik put out this proposal of a long-term L1 execution layer, which would replace that EVM with, yes, RISC-V. Now, Vitalik argues that this might be like giving Compound V to Ethereum, but other devs are saying that this is the death of layer 2s in the ecosystem. So why does RISC-V matter? Well, Ethereum's been struggling with scalability for years. Right now, it handles just 13 to 15 transactions per second, while competitors like BNB Chain hit 1,500. High fees and slow speeds have pushed users to layer 2s, dropping Ethereum's base layer fees to just around 1 cent per transaction. Of course, not only the lowest fees that we've seen in the last year or 2 years, but the lowest we've seen since 2019. Now, what this would do would replace Ethereum's current EVM, which is its contract language, with this new instruction set architecture. This would improve speed and efficiency on Ethereum's network execution layer. The proposal highlights the Ethereum network's struggle to improve throughput and remain competitive with next-generation monolithic blockchains such as Solana and Sui networks. I mean, without question, that BNB and Sui and other chains have outperformed Ethereum by miles this bull run. But can this new update actually make Ethereum reach a price point of $10,000 like Kyle Chassis is claiming? Well, long term, if RISC-V delivers, Ethereum could reclaim its dominance in DeFi and NFTs. Imagine tokenized assets, stablecoins, and cross-border payments all running through Ethereum faster, cheaper, and better than ever. That's why, of course, some users on X are claiming Ethereum will reach $10,000. However, there are challenges. This upgrade will take years, not months, and there's a risk of bugs or centralization. As some users have pointed out, Ethereum also needs to unify its layer 1 and layer 2 ecosystems to capture more value. But if anyone can pull it off, it's Ethereum. They've done it before with the merge, and, RISC-V isn't too far off that. But if you read through Vitalik's proposal and you go into the comments, there's plenty of developers that are coming out and saying that this would be the end of L2s. For example, Adam here says, I think the simplicity argument makes a lot of sense. But taking a step back, I think it raises the question of what is Ethereum's priority purpose right now? L1 execution, simplicity, decentralization, or L2 enablement? This would be great for L1 execution, but that lowers the value add for L2s, competing against ourselves, and doesn't add much value to that roadmap in exchange for a huge technical lift. So while RISC-V move seems to 50x or 100x the L1 execution, it has very little benefit for L2 models. Suhail here on X sums it up perfectly. This update would make Ethereum blocks 50 to 100x more efficient, swapping out the heart of Ethereum's execution layer, of course EVM, with RISC-V. Why the change? Well, ZK EVM zero-knowledge proofs are really slow, and the EVM is hard to prove efficiently, but ZK systems already convert EVM to RISC-V eternally. So all Vitalik is doing is saying, why not skip the middleman? This could make ZK proofs of Ethereum blocks 50 to 100x more efficient, and that's not a joke. That's the difference between a 5-minute proof and a 3-second one, which means faster L2s, cheaper rollups, and way more scalability. Arguing that L2s, even though, L1s would be better, you can actually process on the L1 execution layer, are still going to be even way faster than they are today. What about developers? Honestly, not much would actually change. You'd still write Solidity, Viper contracts, and they just compile to RISC-V under the hood. But what's the catch? Well, tools, audits, infra, compilers all need a ton of work. We're talking years before this is real, and convincing the ecosystem won't be easy. We don't talk enough about how rare it is to have a founder still this deep in the weeds this many years in. Whether or not this ships soon, this proposal shows how serious Ethereum is about staying ahead. So bottom line is the reasons why, and this is personally my opinion here, but why BNB and Tron have been able to stay ahead in terms of that price performance, not the overall network value. Ethereum still dwarfs them in that case, is because they're more centralized, but more scalable, faster, and easier to use, which has obviously helped elevate a lot of the use case within that ecosystem. Ethereum, on the other hand, has relied on L2s, making the fees from the L1 drop pretty much off of the earth to levels we haven't seen since 2019. So Vitalik coming in and wanting to change this with a new proposal makes complete sense. Everybody is tokenizing on Ethereum, as you can see from rwa.xyz. And if Ethereum does not want to become the next Sears or the next Macy's or the next Toys R Us, they have to adapt. They have to change. And L2s have been sucking a lot of that life force out of the execution layer on the L1 Ethereum itself. So the question really here is going to be, how long does it take for something like risk fee to actually be implemented? Some people are saying a year, 2, potentially even 3 years. And if this is implemented, what does that mean for L2s? Either way, Ethereum is expanding, and it is very good to see that their founder is still very much in bed with the ecosystem. And is why when I'm looking at this chart, Ethereum looks like a great point to still dollar cost average into. Yes, it's been hit and jumped off a cliff here with the stock market following the SPX pretty identically down to now $1,575. But that RSI here, we haven't seen lows like this since the bear market of June 2022. And the MACD finally start to look to reverse. So I don't know if that upside is going to be 3K or $4,000 this cycle, but I would definitely not be betting against Ethereum. I would not betting that Ethereum becomes a dead chain. But let me know in the comments, are you guys still holding Ethereum, and what price do you think Ethereum can hit in 2025?